Here's a brutal truth that will shatter everything you think you know about attraction. The man she can't stop thinking about isn't the one showering her with attention. It's not the guy buying expensive gifts or sending good morning texts every day. It's the one who walked away when she expected him to stay. The one who didn't flinch when she tested his boundaries. The one who seemed perfectly content whether she was there or not. Right now, there's a woman thinking about a man who barely thinks about her. And there's another woman ignoring a man who can't stop obsessing over her. The difference. One man needs her validation to feel complete. The other is already complete. Today, I'm going to reveal the 5 psychological triggers that make women fall deeper for men who don't chase them, and how you can become that irresistibly magnetic man starting today. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really wanted something that was easily available to you? Think about it. The restaurant with no line versus the one you need reservations for. The friend who always says yes versus the one whose time feels precious. The job that accepts everyone versus the one that's highly selective. We're wired to desire what's rare, valuable, and not guaranteed. Yet when it comes to dating, most men do the exact opposite. They become overly available, overly agreeable, and overly eager to please. They think that showing more interest will create more attraction. But here's the psychological reality. Desperation repels. While self-sufficiency attracts, this isn't about playing games or being manipulative. This is about becoming genuinely attractive by developing authentic confidence and emotional independence. It's about transforming yourself into the kind of man women naturally gravitate toward, not because of what you do for them, but because of who you are without them. The principles I'm about to share have been tested by evolutionary psychology, confirmed by behavioral science, and proven in real life by men who've made this transformation. Are you ready to become unforgettable? Picture 2 men at a networking event. The first approaches every conversation seeking validation. What do you think about my idea? Am I interesting enough? Do you like me? His energy screams insecurity. Even if his words sound confident, the second man enters conversations with genuine curiosity about others, shares his thoughts without attachment to approval, and contributes value without keeping score. He's not trying to prove anything because he already knows what he brings to the table. Which man commands more respect? Which one do people want to spend more time with? A woman can sense your relationship with yourself within minutes. She notices whether you're seeking her approval or simply enjoying the interaction. She feels whether you're trying to convince her of your worth or whether that worth is already established in your own mind. Here's what true self-worth looks like in action. You share your opinions without checking for her reaction. You pursue your goals whether she supports them or not. You enjoy her company without needing her to validate your choices. You can disagree with her without fearing she lose interest in you. Maintain your standards even when it might cost you the relationship. The internal shift. Most men think, if I can just prove how amazing I am, she want me. High-value men think, I'm going to be myself authentically. And the right person will recognize and appreciate that. This isn't arrogance, it's quiet confidence. Arrogance seeks to prove superiority over others. Confidence simply knows its own value without comparison. A real example, instead of, I hope you think this restaurant is nice. I wasn't sure what you'd like. Is this okay? We can go somewhere else if you want. Try. I love this place. They have incredible seafood and the atmosphere is perfect for conversation. I think you'll enjoy it. See the difference? One seeks approval, the other shares value confidently. When you operate from genuine self-worth, you become magnetic because you're not depleting her energy with constant validation seeking. Instead, you're adding to her experience with your grounded presence. There's a famous psychology experiment where researchers gave people 2 options. They could have a cookie from a jar with 10 cookies, or a cookie from a jar with only 2 cookies left. Same cookies, same taste, but people consistently rated the scarce cookie as more delicious and valuable. Your attention works the same way. When you're always available, texting immediately, dropping plans for her, being free whenever she calls, you're essentially the jar with unlimited cookies. Your time loses its perceived value because it's always there, but here's the crucial distinction. We're not talking about playing games or being artificially unavailable. We're talking about building a life so rich and engaging that your time naturally becomes valuable. The right way to create healthy scarcity. Develop genuine interests. Instead of pretending to be busy, actually become someone with meaningful pursuits. Learn new skills, build friendships, pursue ambitious goals. Honor your commitments. If you have plans, whether it's the gym, time with friends, or work on a project, stick to them. Don't drop everything unless it's truly important. Quality over quantity communication. Instead of constant texting about nothing, have fewer but more meaningful conversations. What? This looks like you don't respond to text immediately because you're engaged in your life. You are not free every weekend because you have interests and social commitments. You don't spend hours on the phone because you have things to accomplish. Your energy feels precious because you're selective about how you spend it. The psychological impact. When your presence feels expensive, she starts to appreciate your time more when she has it. Think about you more when you're not around. Feel special when you choose to prioritize her. Work harder to earn your attention and investment. This creates a positive cycle. The more valuable your time becomes, the more she values it. The more she values it, the more effort she puts into the connection. The more effort she puts in, the more invested she becomes. Here's what separates boys from men in relationships: the willingness to walk away from disrespect, even when it hurts. Most men stay in situations that diminish them because they're terrified of being alone. They tolerate lies, emotional manipulation, and being taken for granted because they've made the relationship their primary source of self-worth. But a man who has developed inner strength, he loves deeply, but he values his peace more. When walking away becomes necessary. Consistent disrespect or boundary violations. Emotional manipulation designed to make you chase lies or betrayal of trust. Taking your investment for granted repeatedly. Behavior that conflicts with your core values. The walk-away mentality in practice. This isn't about issuing ultimatums or being dramatic. It's about having clear standards and the quiet strength to enforce them. For example, if she consistently cancels plans last minute, you don't argue or complain. You simply become less available and invest your time where it's respected. If she tries to make you jealous or plays emotional games, you don't react with anger. You step back calmly and let her games play out with someone else. The psychological impact. When you demonstrate that you'll walk away rather than compromise your standards, several things happen. She gains respect for you. Most men chase harder when treated poorly. Your different response stands out. You become unpredictable. She can't control you with typical manipulation tactics, making you more intriguing. You maintain your value by not tolerating poor treatment. You signal that your time and energy are precious. You attract better behavior. People treat you based on what you accept. Higher standards attract higher treatment. A powerful truth. The man who's willing to lose her is often the one who gets to keep her. Not because of some manipulation, but because that willingness comes from genuine self-respect, and self-respect is irresistibly attractive. Remember, you're not walking away to punish her. You're walking away to protect your peace and maintain your standards. There's a huge difference in energy and outcome. Here's where most men lose the game. They become emotional thermostats, fluctuating based on her moods and behaviors. She's happy, they're on cloud 9. She's distant, they're anxious and overthinking. She's upset, they're scrambling to fix it and take responsibility. She doesn't text back, they're creating stories about what went wrong. But an emotionally independent man is different. He's an emotional thermostat. He sets the temperature of the interaction. What emotional independence looks like. When she has a bad day, you offer support without absorbing her negative energy or making it about you. When she pulls away, you give her space without panicking or creating stories about what it means. When she tests your reactions, you remain calm and consistent rather than getting defensive. When she's not responsive, you continue living your life fully rather than obsessing over her silence. The deeper psychology. Women are often attracted to emotional stability because it represents security. A man who isn't thrown off by her moods feels safe. She can be human, have bad days, feel stressed, Go through challenges without feeling responsible for managing his emotions too. Building emotional independence. Develop internal anchors. Regular exercise, meditation, meaningful work, strong friendships that fulfill you. Independently practice outcome independence. Care about results without being attached to them. Create emotional resilience. Learn to process difficult emotions without needing external validation. Cultivate inner peace. Find ways to feel centered that don't depend on other people's behavior. The attractive energy this creates. When you're emotionally independent, you become calming to be around. Your energy is stable and grounding, trustworthy. She knows you won't fall apart when things get challenging, mysterious. She can't manipulate your emotions, making you unpredictable, respected. Your emotional strength commands natural admiration. A key distinction. This doesn't mean being cold or uncaring. You can be emotionally available while remaining emotionally independent. You offer support without losing yourself. You care deeply without becoming dependent on her responses for your emotional well-being. Here single quotes as the final and most counterintuitive principle. The more you can genuinely let go of needing a specific outcome, the more likely you are to create the outcome you want. This is the hardest concept for most men to grasp because it seems backwards. How can caring less lead to better results? The attachment trap. When you're attached to outcomes, every interaction becomes a high-stakes test. Will this text get the response I want? Did I say the right thing to keep her interested? Is she losing attraction? What can I do to make her choose me? This energy is exhausting and obvious. She feels the pressure of your expectations, and you feel the anxiety of uncertainty. The freedom of detachment. But when you genuinely let go of controlling outcomes, you become more present because you're not calculating your next move. You be more authentic because you're not filtering everything through, will this impress her? You're more attractive because your attention isn't desperate or needy. You're happier because your self-worth isn't riding on her responses. Practical detachment strategies. The abundance mindset. Remember that there are countless potential partners who could be right for you. This isn't about being disloyal. It's about not putting all your emotional eggs in one basket. The full life approach. Build a life so compelling that any relationship is just one wonderful piece of a much larger, satisfying puzzle. The growth perspective. View every interaction as practice in becoming your best self, regardless of the romantic outcome. The trust method. Trust that if it's meant to work out, your authentic self will be enough. If it doesn't work out, something better aligned is coming. The paradox in action. When you stop needing her validation, she often becomes more eager to give it. When you stop chasing her attention, she often starts seeking yours. When you stop trying to prove your worth, she often starts recognizing it naturally. When you stop fearing loss, you often become impossible to lose. Why this works. Detachment communicates several attractive qualities. Confidence. You believe you're worthy regardless of her decision. Abundance. You have options and aren't desperate. Self-sufficiency. You don't need her to complete you. Authenticity. You're being genuine rather than strategic. This creates space for genuine connection to develop naturally, without the pressure of your attachment distorting the dynamic. Call to action. 15 o'clock to 16 o'clock. So here's your challenge. Starting today, commit to a 30-day transformation where you stop chasing validation and start building genuine attractiveness from within. Your 5 action steps. Week 1. Build your foundation. Audit your life honestly. Are you genuinely excited about your days, or are you waiting for romantic validation to feel fulfilled? Start developing one new interest or skill that excites you. Week 2. Practice scarcity. Become less available, but for the right reasons. Fill your time with meaningful activities, honor your commitments, and stop dropping everything for romantic possibilities. Week 3. Strengthen your standards. Identify one area where you've been too tolerant of poor treatment. Practice walking away from disrespect with calm dignity. Week 4. Develop independence. Work on emotional resilience. When someone's mood affects yours, pause and choose your own emotional state. Build internal sources of fulfillment. Ongoing master detachment. In your next romantic interaction, focus on being authentic rather than strategic. Let go of trying to control her response and simply show up as your best self. Remember the goal. You're not trying to become cold, manipulative, or uncaring. You're becoming so grounded in your own worth, so fulfilled by your own life, that your love comes from abundance rather than scarcity. When you become this man, the one who chooses rather than chases, who adds value rather than seeks it, who loves from fullness rather than emptiness, you don't just become more attractive to women. You become magnetic to life itself. The transformation starts now. Not with changing her, but with becoming the man who doesn't need anyone else to feel complete.